Hey everyone, it's me, Arthur Kade, and I'm joined by the owners of Donna Belle's Bake Shop, my new obsession, Darren, Matthew, and of course, Pauley Perrette from NCIS. Make sure to check out this awesome cookbook and their shop, Midtown Manhattan. It is awesome.
Yay!
Hey everyone, it's me, Arthur Kade, and I'm here with actor, author, and baker. And as you had just said, you starred in this little TV show, NCIS, Pauley Perrette. First of all, this is so cool. Donna Belle's Bake Shop. You own this with two of your best friends, and I was watching a video of what goes on in this bake shop, and I was joking around that if our studio was right next to your bake shop, I would probably have a heart attack and gain 15 pounds just from living in there and eating everything that's in there.
Heart attack, not good, but if you need to gain 15 pounds by eating at Donna Belle's, that's okay.
Congratulations. Talk to me about this bake shop, the inspiration behind it, the recipes, and pretty much everything.
Well, okay, so I lost my mom to breast cancer in 2002, and her name was Donna Belle. And she's from Alabama, very Alabama. And these are my two best friends, Darren and Matthew. And a few years later, and Darren had been down to Alabama with me a few times, and they're both Yankees, and Darren fell in love with everything Southern and everything my mom did. And then a few years later, he had talked about, sort of keeping this Southern thing alive and making it start as a food truck, but making a sort of an homage to my mom and this Southern baking thing. And we created Donna Belle's, but not without Matthew, because this guy is like a master baker. And we've all been friends for a long time, but he lived in LA out with me. So it was like, Matthew, get out here and make your magic happen with us. So the three of us got together and we created this bake shop that we're really, really proud of. And it's like a very, very Southern bake shop that's right in the middle of Manhattan.
That's a huge part of your life because I know you talk all about being from the South. You've pretty much lived everywhere in the South.
Yeah.
Talk to me about bringing the South to New York.
People really enjoy it. I mean, we're just like right in the middle of Manhattan, like steps from Times Square on 49th and 8th. And then you just walk into this little bake shop and it's very Southern. Everything from the decor to the way it feels and the food and everything about it is like this little oasis of like Southern deliciousness right here in New York.
NCIS. That show is insane. I was like, oh, let me see how many Facebook fans they have now. You're at 17 million.
Yeah.
Talk to me about, first of all, Abby's become kind of this iconic television character, but being part of this franchise, it's spun off shows. I mean, it's insane to see how big it's gotten.
It is so amazing, and there's not a single day I'm not grateful. I can't believe that I get to play Abby Sciuto, and it is like she's become such an iconic little television character, one of those that comes along, not so often. And the fact that I'm as in love with Abby as everybody else, because I'm not her. I mean, she exists sort of in her own Abby planet, and I love her, and I can't believe I've gotten to play her for 13 years. We're in our 12th season, but Michael Weatherly, David McCallum, Mark Harmon, and myself have been playing these characters for 13 years because we started them on another show. So 13 years I've gotten to play Abby Sciuto, and every single day is a blast. It's so much fun.
Anytime you're identified with a character like that, do people actually see you as the character? Or do people recognize, hey, there's Pauley Perrette and then there's Abby? Like, are they able to disconnect the two?
No, not at all. I mean, people that don't know me well, like, think I'm Abby, and they think I'm incredibly smart and that I could solve crimes and that I have all the same things. But we're actually very, very, very different. But I love her. I mean, that's the fun part, is going and like being a part of playing that character that's so special and so unique.
Having been with this cast for 12 years, does it become a family? Do you guys ever get these brother-sister fights? What's it like, the dynamic and working with these same people? I can't even imagine being with people for 12 minutes, let alone 12 years.
It's the longest relationships that any of us have ever had. I mean, we're together all the time, and it absolutely is like a family. I mean, yeah, you spend so much time together. You have all those relationships, like one's kind of like your dad, and this is your brother, and then like your sister, and like everything like that. We're just so fortunate to have the cast and crew that we have, because there's such a sense of fun. We all really love our shows, and we all really love our characters, and we've been with the same crew for this long too. So it really is like it's like a fine working machine, but it's also really a beautiful dance that we do.
When did you get the idea for the bake shop and bringing the two guys and your best friends involved? what was the dynamic like? How did you want to build this brand that you're building on the bake side?
It started as an idea, and then the three of us got together. And what's interesting about the book is that there's beautiful recipes in here about the food that we're making.
I was going to ask you what I should be walking in and eating.
Everything. I mean, we have all the recipes, but what's so curious and interesting about this book and very unique is that it's part biography and part cookbook. So the whole story of me growing up with my mom, Darren growing up, and Matthew growing up. And how all of our personal histories, and then the three of us coming together as friends, and then the three of us coming together trying to build this business. So it's as you're going through the recipes are interdispersed between the story of us and our personal stories, and the story of us as three friends, and then the story of us as trying to build a business together. So it's all in there. It's the history of everything Donna Belle's.
You guys seem like you get along. I could never open up a business with my friends. I would kill people. Talk to me about the relationship with working with your friends.
I don't know. Have you had friends for over 20 years?
Yes.
You really?
Yes. No, in fact, I was with them on Saturday. I'm 37. I'm like, I've got one foot in the grave already, but...
But they still hang out with you?
It's scary enough. Trust me, they've probably tried to run away, and I just tie them up and offer them Donna Belle's Bake Shop stuff. But,
yes, that'll always work.
But I was thinking about it. How do you run a business with your friends? Like, I would have so many problems. Because I'm the alpha male, I would literally be like talking down to people. It would destroy my friendships, but you guys actually seem to get along.
Yeah, well, yeah, we do get along, but it's not like, running a business is not easy, and starting a business from scratch is not easy. So there's always going to be bumps in the road, always. You just expect it. You expect that, and then just kind of deal with it. It's the same thing as like, on a set somewhere when you're dealing with 500 people that you love. There's always going to be there's going to be problems, and problems are there to be fixed, and you figure it out and move on,
Do people walk into the bake shop once they realize that you're involved with it and just uber fans walking in terms of like, I've got to walk into Pauley's Bake Shop?
Constantly. And Darren and Matthew, who are here over there, they could tell you hilarious stories about people coming in and they want to tell my two best friends everything about me, which is so funny. Like, they'll be telling them stories about me, which Darren and Matthew were, of course, there for. It was like 10 years ago. Like, and then she did that. Or they tell them all about the show, and Darren and Matthew, like, yeah, I mean, they're my best friends. They know everything about me, everything.
Has it blown you away to see Abby's popularity? I mean, it's funny because there's so many procedurals on TV. NCIS obviously has just built this massive following, but Abby's also built like this massive following, and she's become just a favorite. When you took that part, could you have imagined that was something that was going to be the case?
Yes, absolutely.
Really?
Yeah, I really did. I felt that way about the show, and I felt that way about Abby because, first of all I do pretty much in life, other than all the rest of the stuff I do, is watch TV. So I consider myself an expert. I love television. I love it. Like, I love watching TV. And when I read the script, I'm like, this is awesome. Like, it's at first, when we first started, people were like, what? It's like a military drama, but it's hilarious. It's a comedy. Like, we had no idea what to think. And then once you start watching, you get hooked, But I knew when I read the character of Abby, just in the very, very beginning, I was like, oh, this is good. And like, not only was I going to love it and love playing her, but I was like, people are going to love her. And the creator of the show, Don Belisario, had said, everybody kept asking me where the character came from. So I actually interviewed him and said, where'd the character come from? He created Quantum Leap. He created Magnum PI, and he has this thing of totally. But he has this thing about like reversing stereotypes, and he said what he told me was when he created Magnum PI, he wanted to show a Vietnam veteran or a war veteran that because he thought the media was not treating them fairly, and somebody who was just in his shirt being a detective carrying on about his life. And so then when about Abby, he said that he thought that like creative and alternative youth weren't being represented right in the media. They were always like thieves or thugs or junkies or whatever. So he was like, he wanted a character on TV that was like this young, tattooed, creative, alternative being that's like brilliant, a brilliant forensic scientist. She's like an expert at botany and biology and chemistry and ballistics and every kind of thing in the world, and she goes to church and she bowls with nuns. So it was about flipping a stereotype. And right when I read it, I'm like, I love this. And I do. Is
it one thing where do you think about life after NCIS? You say, hey, there will be life after Abby, and here's what I want to do afterwards? Work full time at the bake shop.
I mean, I know there will be, but I don't like to think about it because it is so, I don't think a world without Abby is like
a good world.
I know. I mean, what's a world without Abby? It's just too good. She's too fun. She should exist out there.
Congrats. Everybody make sure to, A, get this cookbook, Donna Belle's Bake Shop. And by the way, this was your first book, and what was it like for you guys putting this together? I mean, it's a really nice, creative, cool book, but the process of it, what was it like?
It was long and laborious. I mean, there was a lot, especially for Matthew. This one here. Matthew, like, the putting a cookbook together, which I have learned, I didn't have to do this part, but it is, we want to get everything right. So working with Simon & Schuster, going through every single recipe, having everything baked over and over again, makes everything's perfect. And then when you do it at home, it turns out exactly like that. And then also, us writing our stories was, it was very hard. I remember calling Matthew and Darren a few times and just saying, sorry, like, this is really hard for me because I do go through, losing my mom, and it goes back to a lot of really, really heavy stuff. And it goes back to, like, me being, like, this restless teenager and a lot of things that weren't easy to write down. So, it's a very, very personal book that's filled with some really awesome food.
Go check this out.
Do it.
Go check out the bake shop, and I will be there at some point very shortly.
That's me when I was little.
No way.
The same hair as Abby, but I'm really blonde.
I love it.